Okay, the next question, in fact, the last from the list is from Albert. Hello, Shifu. I have another question. If everything depends on conditions, the five aggregates included, does something like free will exist? So what about the karmic volitional actions? Can we really choose? This is quite a long question, but I will answer in brief. The short answer is yes. We have free will, but not as free as we think. Yeah. So free will, in a sense that there can be decision made, but uh, there's no self or no. It's not so-called independently made the way we think. Yeah, it is conditionally made. Yeah. So, for example, when you're sitting and then your leg is painful and you move, we can say that that's free will, right? Because you can choose to move or not to move, right? But whether you move or not move, there must be different conditions that result in that. Yeah. Yeah. There must be the conditions that lead to you moving or not moving. To begin with, there must be the condition of pain that trigger you to make the decision. Yeah. So even though we make decisions, there must be conditions that trigger it to be made. Yeah. So simply put is that. For more information about this, then watch the previous video. Yeah. Did you all get it? The previous video on this. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, that means nobody get it. No self. If you get it, it means it's no self. If you don't get it, it means nobody get it. So no self also. Oh, Marcel said, oh, Quack says she missed the shot. So Quack, are you asking for a retake?
No need. Don't trouble you.
Don't say that lah.
No need. I will trouble you. Trouble.
Never lah. They just have to reapply the makeup on.
No, I would trouble. Every day also got one.
Video also got. You want turn on your webcam lah?
No, every day. I mean, every day also got shots.
Yeah, but every day is different, ma. Every moment is different. See now, Shifu's post this way.
Regarding yesterday's question,
yes.
is universal love, is it unconditional?
Is universal love unconditional? So I'm not sure what is universal love or what you understand about universal love. What is universal love to you?
Anyone, world the world, anyone, everybody lah.
So that means the love for everyone.
Yeah.
So in a way, it seems to be unconditional, right? Because regardless of who you are, you will love them.
Yeah.
So similarly, for you to have love for anyone, there must be someone. So that is still conditional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Regarding universal love or true love or unconditional love, as I mentioned yesterday, we have to be careful whether we are looking at it in terms of how we feel towards it, like emotions. like, how it makes us feel versus how we are looking at it in terms of what it really is. Yeah. Like for example, when we talk about laksa, most people can understand that that it is dependent on conditions, it's empty in nature. Yeah? Because laksa, who cares about it, right? But once we talk about human beings or things related to human beings, yeah, like emotions, like love, then easy for us to be clouded. Yeah, easy to be clouded. Or let's say it is the laksa that your mom cooked and your mom has passed away. Well, then it may be very difficult for you to see clearly whether it's dependent arising or not. Yeah. So I have to be careful when it comes to this area. Yeah. The same principle that applies to laksa should apply to other areas if they share similar traits. So back to the question of free will. It is the same question as is there self or no self? Yeah. So yesterday in the Diamond Sutra class, there was the section of the text in the class. We covered the part where my teacher cited the Leng Qie Jing, Lankaratvatara Sutra. So inside there's this Da Hui Pusa, the great wisdom bodhisattva. So he asked the Buddha, but the Buddha says that there is the Tathagata Gaba, the Buddha nature, but the Buddha store. But the Buddha store is the description, the feature of it is similar to the self that is described by the heterodox ascetics. So how is this so? Then the Buddha explained that there are those heterodox ascetics who don't delight in the teaching of no self. So in order to encompass them, in order to draw them in to learn the Buddha Dhamma, the Buddha teaches that there is the Tathagata Gaba. Now, otherwise, they will never learn Buddha Dhamma and they will not benefit from the teachings. Yeah. Then the Buddha further explained that when the Buddha say that there is self or there is the Tathagata Gaba, what the Buddha is saying is just giving no self, impermanence, emptiness, a different label. Yeah. So you don't like self, you don't like no self, right? Say, okay, say, yeah, there's self, there's self. But this self is given a special name. It's called Buddha store. Yeah. So this Buddha store, ultimately, what is it? It is empty in nature. It's impermanence, empty nature, no self. Yeah. So if we were to use the same approach, then we say, yeah, there is free will, but not the way we think. Yeah. If you immediately say no free will, number one, those who like free will, yeah, they will be frightened of. And there are those who cannot understand how can there be no free will. I decided to come for this talk. Why you say there's no free will? Yeah. There was one YouTube video about science that I watched, and I thought that, in a way, kind of described our conundrum with self and free will. So you know water, right? Water. If you consider each drop of water, each molecule of water, yeah, maybe drop will do also. Each drop of water, each drop of water exhibits certain features. Yeah, each drop of water you drop, hope it just stays there. It doesn't move around. Yeah. But when you have many drops of water come together, it exhibits behavior that is beyond the single drops. Yeah. But yet when you take out the drop, again, those features disappear. Yeah. Collectively, there is wave, yeah, and so on and so forth. But you take a single drop, you cannot have waves. Yeah. So what we perceive as a self is an aggregation of things that don't have self. What we perceive as having free will is a collection of sequences that actually has no free will. Yeah, not the way we understand it anyway. But yet there is the phenomena of free will happening. Yeah. Oh, that's as best as I can explain to you in words. Not a cop out, but to fully appreciate it, I strongly think that understanding no self will help you understand free will or not. Yeah, because free will is tied directly to the sense of a self. Yeah. So then how to appreciate that there's no self? Yeah, you shouldn't accept no self immediately. Yeah, there's two angles. One angle is don't accept no self. One angle is accept no self. Yeah. When do you just accept no self? To experience its benefit, to try out, to give you reason to explore. Yeah. Like you go and examine. If you hold on to the sense of self very strongly, what happened? Now if you test drive, although you don't know, you cannot see that there's no self, you test drive. Yeah. Take the I out of the equation in all for the whole day. Yeah, you try. Take out the I. Yeah. Don't think of your idea as your idea. Don't think of what you are saying as you saying. Don't think of other people telling you this as that particular person saying to you. Just that there's these words coming up. How would you react differently? And even the you is somebody else. This is just test driving. So in this case, you just assume that there's no self. Yeah. Then when you're exploring whether there's self or no self, don't assume that there's no self. You assume there's no self, don't need to go and explore it. Right? So when you're examining whether there's self or no self, don't assume that there's no self. But in all the experiences, in everything that's happening, just go and examine. Is there anything that fits in with the definition of self? Is there anything that's permanent that you can consider this to be an identity value, yeah, an essence that transpire across time and space? Yeah, is there such a thing? Just examine it as it is. Yeah. Beyond this, further elaboration is more and more concepts. But it doesn't help you to get closer to the question of whether there's self or no self. So let me repeat. As far as when you talk about self or no self, right, there are two approaches. Okay, one has to do with the fact whether there's self or no self. The other one has to do with the purpose of the teaching of no self. Because the Buddha teach no self not as an end by itself. No pun intended. Yeah, it's meant as a tool to reach to an end. What is the end? The end is to arrive at dispassion, to arrive at non-attachment, to arrive at renunciation. Renunciation not in terms of well 出家, but renunciation as in you are no longer interested in that which you thought is the self, because you realize that that thing don't exist. Yeah, that is the true renunciation, because that leads to non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. Yeah. So for the latter part, which is to understand what is the purpose, then you assume no self first. Yeah. If no self, then what? Then you can see that, oh, no self indeed leads to dispassion, leads to lesser problem, lead to lesser suffering. Because otherwise, it's very hard for us to appreciate the purpose of no self. Like then your effort to investigate would be half-hearted, because a lot of people will ask questions about no self standing from a viewpoint of self. Yeah. So all the value system, all the way to measure whether something has value or not is from the premise of that itself. Then if you look at this, look at the teaching of no self from this angle, you will never appreciate why that is useful, you know. In fact, you may be like, this creates more problem. Yeah, so there are two angles. To answer Albert's question on whether there's free will, you need to use the first approach. Don't assume that there's free will or no free will first. Yeah, don't assume that there's self or no self first. You must go and examine directly, yeah, observe directly as you're experiencing anything and everything. Yeah, whether there's anything whatsoever in the whole process that is something that you can identify with, that it transpires space and time, yeah, whereby you have absolute autonomy, yeah, control over it. Yeah, it just boils down to what do you think of self? Self means you can control. You must be able to control. You cannot control that. How can you say that it's you? Yeah, it simply boils down to that. Oh, okay. Yeah. This area of question, right, can be super long. Yeah, that's why there are so many treatises, commentaries on it. Yeah, since the Buddha's time. It can be very short also. Yeah, because more explanation actually doesn't reach there. You just need to go and do that exercise. Oh, okay. Try. Anybody have any questions on what I just said? Okay, can. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
普愿罪障悉消除，
普愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖，
okay, have a selfless week ahead. So for today until next Wednesday, try out this exercise. Yeah, go and examine. You can either do either one of them. One is test drive no self. So you assume no self. The other one is don't assume self or no self. Go and examine. Yeah, any thing you see, sound you hear, taste, smell, taste, touch. As you interact, go and examine. Is there anything permanent inside that is experiencing it? Is there anything permanent that is making decision? No? Okay. All right.